What if the moment everyone thought you were finished was actually the moment you began to win? The 22nd of June, 1941. Dawn breaks blood red over the Bug River. Without warning, 3 million German soldiers, 3,600 tanks, and 2,700 aircraft rip across the Soviet frontier in the largest invasion in human history. Operation Barbarossa. Hitler's promise: the Red Army will be destroyed in 6 weeks, Moscow taken by August, the Soviet Union erased before the leaves fall. In a concrete bunker outside Minsk, Colonel Alexei Ivanov, 38 years old, father of 2, feels the floor shudder as the first bombs fall. The lights flicker. A runner bursts in screaming that entire divisions have vanished from the maps. Ivanov's hands tremble as he grips the telephone receiver. Static, then silence. His wife and daughters are 600 kilometers east in Smolensk, directly in the path of Army Group Center. He has not slept in 48 hours. The air smells of burning paper and fear. By nightfall the news is apocalyptic. Brest-Litovsk fortress is surrounded. Riga is falling. German spearheads are already 70 kilometers inside Soviet territory. In Moscow, foreign diplomats burn documents. British analysts give the USSR 3 weeks, 6 at the most. Even Stalin locks himself in his dacha, speechless for 2 days. Ivanov is ordered west to command the remnants of the 13th Army. What he finds is chaos, columns of refugees clogging roads, summer-uniformed boys with 1 rifle for every 3 men, officers shooting deserters at crossroads. The sky belongs to the Luftwaffe. Every village he passes is on fire. At night he writes letters to his children he knows will never be delivered. "If we lose," he writes, "remember that your father tried." July turns into August. The Germans encircle 300,000 Soviet troops at Smolensk. Kiev falls in September, 665,000 prisoners, the largest surrender in history. German officers toast with French champagne, already planning winter quarters in Moscow. Panzer crews paint to Moscow, 300 kilometers on their turrets like tourists counting down to a holiday. By October the mud arrives, then the frost. German soldiers who laughed at Soviet backwardness now watch their tanks sink axle-deep in Rasputitsa. Still, they push. On the 2nd of October, Army Group Center launches Operation Typhoon, the final drive on Moscow. Within days, they capture another 600,000 men near Vyazma and Bryansk. Moscow's outer defenses are 60 kilometers away. Civilians dig anti-tank ditches with teaspoons. Factory workers evacuate machinery on sledges pulled by women and children. In the capital, panic. Loudspeakers blare that the enemy is at the gates. Trains packed with evacuees crawl east. Rumor says Stalin has fled. On the 16th of October, the day of panic, government offices burn files in the streets. Ivanov, now attached to the desperate Moscow reserve, stands on a rooftop watching German reconnaissance planes circle like vultures. The temperature drops to -15. His men have no winter clothing. Frostbite claims more limbs than bullets. He asks the question we all ask when the walls close in: is this the end? Many never realize what truly holds them back, not the tanks outside, but the belief inside that the story is already written. Ivanov feels that poison spreading. He sees it in the eyes of young lieutenants, hears it in the whispers of its hopeless. Despair is more contagious than typhus. Then, on a night when the temperature plunges to -30, something shifts. A courier arrives with sealed orders. Ivanov is to report immediately to a train leaving for the east, destination classified. He boards with nothing but a pistol and the clothes on his back. As the train crawls through blizzards, he passes endless flat cars loaded with dismantled factories, lathes wrapped in tarpaulins, women and children huddled between crates. The entire industrial heart of the nation is being torn out and transplanted beyond the Urals. After 4 days the train stops at a lonely siding. A staff car takes him through pine forests to a small wooden house lit by a single kerosene lamp. Inside stands General Georgy Zhukov, broad-shouldered, unshaven, eyes like winter steel. Zhukov wastes no words. He spreads a map across the table. "They think winter is their ally," he says, voice low. "We will make it their grave." He outlines the impossible: hold Moscow at all costs, bleed the Germans white, move every factory, train millions of new men, wait for the counterstroke. Ivanov stares, stunned. It sounds like suicide. Yet in Zhukov's absolute certainty something ancient stirs inside him. The same refusal that made Russian peasants burn Moscow rather than surrender it to Napoleon. Zhukov looks straight at him. Tell me, Colonel, are you ready to fight like your children's lives depend on it? Because they do. For the first time in months, Ivanov feels something stronger than fear. He salutes. Da. The 5th of December 1941. Temperature, -42 degrees Celsius. From the silent snow emerge the ghosts. Siberian divisions, 55,000 men moved secretly from the Far East, wrapped in white camouflage, padded jackets, felt boots, faces blackened with frost, crash into the frozen German lines north of Moscow. Their T-34 tanks, engines preheated with blowtorches, roar forward on wide tracks that laugh at the snow. German sentries die before they can scream. South of the city, more Siberians strike. The Germans, wearing summer uniforms under greatcoats looted from French prisoners, cannot believe what they see. Their machine guns freeze. Their antifreeze is gone. Their horses starve. Their generals, who toasted victory 6 weeks earlier, now beg Hitler to retreat. He refuses. Ivanov, promoted to lead a rifle regiment, stands on a hill watching the Red Army attack for the first time instead of retreat. The sight is biblical. Thousands of figures in white surging forward under a low grey sky, artillery thundering like the voice of God. For the first time the Germans are running. Moscow is saved. By January 1942 the front has been hurled back 250 kilometers. The myth of German invincibility is shattered in snow and blood. But the real turning point is still a year away. August 1942. Stalingrad. Hitler, obsessed, throws everything at the city on the Volga. Street by street, house by house, factory by factory, the battle becomes a meat grinder. German soldiers call it Rattenkrieg, War of the Rats. Snipers duel among ruins. Life expectancy of a Soviet private. One day. Ivanov, now a major, commands a battalion inside the Barricade factory. His men fight with bayonets, bricks, their bare hands. They live in cellars, drink water from radiators, eat rats and wallpaper paste. Every night German loudspeakers offer bread and safety to deserters. Few take it. On the 19th of November, 1942, Operation Uranus slams shut. 2 Soviet pincers, over 1 million men, 1,000 tanks, encircle the entire German 6th Army, 300,000 men, inside Stalingrad. Paulus, the German commander, is trapped. Hitler forbids breakout. I will not leave the Volga, he screams. Winter returns, crueler than before. German soldiers inside the pocket burn furniture for warmth, eat their horses, then each other's corpses. Soviet artillery never stops. Ivanov, standing on the west bank, watches red flags rise over the frozen river. The hunter has become the hunted. The 2nd of February, 1943. Paulus surrenders. 91,000 starved, frost-bitten Germans march into captivity. Fewer than 6,000 will ever see Germany again. The lesson is now carved in ice and blood. When an enemy believes your destruction is certain, your greatest weapon is the refusal to accept their story about you. The transformation is total. The Red Army that staggered and bled in 1941 is now an avalanche. July 1943, Kursk, the greatest tank battle in history. Soviet defenses, dug deeper than any in the war, swallow the last German offensive. Then the counterstroke, Oral, Kharkov, Kiev retaken. By spring 1944 the border of 1941 is restored. In 1945 Berlin falls. Colonel Ivanov, now grey, scarred, missing 2 fingers to frostbite, stands on the steps of the Reichstag as the red banner is raised. The fear that once paralyzed him in that Minsk bunker is gone, replaced by a calm so deep it frightens younger officers. He thinks of his daughters, alive, grown, waiting in Kubyshev. He thinks of the millions who did not come home. He thinks of Zhukov's voice in the wooden hut 4 winters ago. The nation that was supposed to collapse in weeks has instead delivered the mortal blow to the greatest war machine ever built. The deeper truth echoes across the centuries. When life invades your borders, when everything is burning and the world writes you off, the moment you stand up in the snow and whisper, "Not yet," is the moment the tide turns forever. Whatever invasion you face today, loss, betrayal, despair, remember Stalingrad. Remember Moscow in December. Remember that ordinary people, cornered and bleeding, discovered they were stronger than history predicted. The story is never over until you say it is.